We're live, Bill. This is live. This is
Welcome to Magic
Wrestling Podcast. We are here in quarantine, still in quarantine, but we're coming to you from the Magic the Wrestling Podcast. You have Frank, Jimmy, you got Maury, you got Bill. We're having an exciting episode. Three guys shooting the shit around, talking about everything. We're here for you guys. I hope you guys are ready. You guys having a good day?
Bill, Jimmy couldn't even find a place to disappear to this week, so he's here.
Well, I can't. The energy level from now until the last time I saw him was what? Sunday or whatever today is. Sunday, he's on his phone, he's on the screen. He's not saying two words. Now he's all full of piss and vinegar, and he wants to do it. He's ready to go live.
That's right, because, well, listen, I was paying attention. I was watching WrestleMania.
You were not. You two legitimately took yourselves off my Christmas card list this year on Sunday's podcast.
Wow.
Oh, listen.
And Crystal's only on it. She should be off it because she should be guilty by association.
Whoa!
Oh, Bill, we love you. We had a great time with you. Mike had a great time. We had a great time watching WrestleMania 36 live from the WWE Performance Center. What a card! What a night! Night two after Bill left. Great matches.
After Bill left.
Go over Brock Lesnar to win the World Heavyweight Championship. And I right after.
You are not allowed to use terms like "go over."
You know what I loved?
I'm gonna start treating you two guys like you're not allowed to talk wrestling at all from now on. I had a long talk with myself Sunday and yesterday about this wrestling thing.
Those were the same day.
No, you guys are banned from talking wrestling.
Well,
let me talk wrestling. I'm gonna sit here and do this.
Look at Bill. Bill is
frustrating.
Oh, Bill, we love you. It
Bill,
was so much fun.
That was an experiment that did not work. Basically, what happened was we all tried to watch WrestleMania together and do the show, and we were recording it.
I agree with you. That was a terrible experiment.
It was a dumpster fire in a river.
I hope that it's out of everybody's system. I'm sorry that my new friend Mike had to meet me on those circumstances, but
it was a lot of fun.
At least we tried it.
That was a proverbial fart in church.
Yeah,
well,
that was bad.
I'm going to throw some trivia at you, though, real quick. Maury, let's see if you could remember, or Bill, if you could remember, and then we're to our guest here.
Yeah, we do have a guest.
Yeah, we do have a guest. We have an exciting guest here. So, in fact, I'm going to text him and tell him to start logging in right now. So, here's a little trivia for you. Monday, the Raw after WrestleMania, we saw in the main event a flashback to WrestleMania, and it was a title defense that occurred 22 minutes after Drew McIntyre won the World Heavyweight Championship from Brock Lesnar. So at WrestleMania, the belt was defended twice in one night against Brock Lesnar, Drew McIntyre against The Big Show. Either of you remember any other times in any of the WrestleManias where the World Championship had been defended multiple times on the same card?
Stone Cold and The Rock. No, I was pretty confident in that, and then I said it, and then I lost the confidence.
I didn't even remember Big Show was at WrestleMania, so
I missed that.
It aired on Monday Night Raw last night. They said the shocking events that happened after Drew McIntyre beat Brock Lesnar, and then
so it didn't happen at WrestleMania.
It did. It happened at the WrestleMania set. They just played it on Monday Night Raw. They even said they made it a point to say this happened 22 minutes after Drew McIntyre beat Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania.
I didn't see that.
Yeah.
I don't have an answer for that question.
So the ones come to mind, WrestleMania 9, Caesar's Palace, right? Yokozuna, and I want to say it was
Bret Hart.
And then Hulk Hogan and Yokozuna. Hulk Hogan walks away with the championship.
That's right. Hey, our guest is here. Let me know when you want me to let him in.
Bring him in. WrestleMania 10 is the other answer. If there's any more that I'm missing, leave it in the comment section. Give it a like, share. Let us know what you think.
Who's going to leave it in the comment section? Who are you talking to?
Here he is. We have our guest. We have our special guest, the one, the only. Trooper Steve is in the house with us live at the Magic Through Wrestling podcast.
Bill, since we ruined your night on Sunday.
Can't hear anything.
While he's fixing that, Bill, since we ruined your night on Sunday last night, WrestleMania, we ruined your whole WrestleMania. We wanted to make it up to you and bring you a fun
You didn't ruin my WrestleMania, but anytime I see Trooper Steve, I'm always happy. So
there you go.
You still have my Christmas card list. I don't care either way.
Wow. We got
Jimmy. But now I got Trooper Steve. So you guys are there's what is the movie that said how deep Biloxi Blues for all those who love movies.
Okay.
And there's a line in the movie that says, "How deep in the shit do you think you are?" And then Matthew Broderick says, "About here."
Which is above the eyebrow.
That's you. Maury, you and Jimmy are right here. Just enough eye line to see Trooper Steve. What's up, buddy?
Hey guys, what's going on? I just
hey man,
audio and stuff working. So
yeah. You have a crazy schedule with everything going on. So really appreciate you being here.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah, Frank had messaged me this morning. It was like, "Hey, you want to join in?" I was like, "Yeah, let's do this."
Yeah, because Bill's gonna kill me.
Yeah, we had to do something. We ruined his night. We tried to watch WrestleMania and do the show at the same time, but we all weren't really talking, and we were watching it, which was the worst dead air. Like, there's so much dead air, it's almost unusable.
So, how long have you guys been doing this podcast stuff?
14 years.
Okay.
Feels for Bill.
Right.
So, Steve, Maury and I started in
October,
somewhere in that ballpark. And Bill found out about it about a month later and chewed our ass out that
he wasn't part of it.
Yeah, I had no idea.
And I totally would like to go back in time and punch Bill DeMott right in the throat.
Right. It's like sometimes we get a little too eager for certain things and realize what you get yourself into.
I was like, wow, Maury, Frank, this could be a lot of fun. And then it happened.
23 episodes in, and Bill, you're happier than ever.
It was like the girl who, in my high school that was like this great volleyball and basketball and track and softball and all these things. And then, wow, if I could just say hello to her, and I said hello to her.
Right.
Well, it's too late. He's in a contract, Steve. We have him locked in.
That's right.
So how do you guys get these fancy backgrounds?
Oh, yes, we're using Zoom, and there's an option where it says stop, or it says video, like the video next to the mute button. And as you click the arrow going up, you can click, like, what is it, live?
Virtual background.
Virtual background.
Ah.
And then you can select a picture from your desktop and bring it on there.
Oh, we're going to get fancy up in here.
And as you notice, not one of us is all on the same page.
I know.
Jimmy, tell us a little bit about Trooper Steve.
Are you nuts right now?
I'm trying to get a,
You just said Trooper Steve. It's self-explanatory, bro.
Right.
You mean like the time I went up and I introduced you to somebody and said, "Hey, this is the guy with Wesh."
Whoa, Wesh.
Whoa.
First of all, he's probably not a subscriber.
Yeah, and I work for WKMG, not Wesh.
I know. No. I at your event, Bill.
Steve, I am so sorry. Do not judge us just by Maury here.
Yeah.
I mean,
you guys are hurt. You guys are really hurting my heart this weekend.
We're gonna get it back.
How's the quarantine for everybody? Anybody go crazy yet?
I think this is it. Yeah, I think this is it.
Quarantine's good. I'll tell you, Steve. Obviously still working, doing our thing. I go back to work tomorrow night.
Okay.
But I'm not leaving my car or the office unless it's Armageddon. So that's about it. I wanted. How are the troopers doing? How are the troopers doing?
Are you guys? Any of you guys wearing a mask yet?
Yes. Yeah, they make us.
But I got the gloves. I can't.
Okay, but are you hold on? Are you gloving it for real, or are you like gloving it, touching your car, touching your phone, touching your face, and calling it a day and being like, oh, I still wear gloves?
No, I was at Publix today. I put them on before I touched the cart, and then I took them off as soon as I got to my car before I opened up the door.
And you threw them away where?
Yeah, no, I put them in the garbage. There were enough on the ground already. I didn't need to contribute to that. What a bunch of
good. Bill, are you okay? Bill, what's going on over there? You like?
Sometimes I just sit back and listen, and
it's like a donut popped up on the screen or something.
Sometimes I'm amazed at the
friendship and family that we have. Is that what you're doing?
It really is
good way to put it.
Yeah, it's very interesting. How's everybody at the KMG?
I've got to basically do my best to not lose my mind because one, it's in your ear, so you've got the earpiece in, and it's just constant bad news, bad news, bad news. So you've got to like figure it out, and then I resort back to the trooper days. Like perspective is what I've been kind of living by right now.
All right.
And every time someone starts losing their mind, I'm like, one, you need to shut up. Two, you've got a paycheck still coming in.
Yeah.
And you're contracted. So at the end of the day, you're at least going to have a year's worth of money to live on. So,
right.
And I wrote this out the other day, and I said, what we're dealing with today when we're stressed out is someone else's normal. So just think about what you're worried about tomorrow, times it by 10 for someone else. So like, take it easy a little bit. If you're panicking out, you're only it's just the generic stuff. You're making it worse, but I'm throwing at everybody. It's like perspective. You're not living outside. You're able to pay your bills at least for tomorrow. Like there's someone else that's trying to figure this out. Like one, they don't have a job. Like, what are they going to do?
And all the people that's got the virus.
Steve, and that makes a very good point. And don't worry, we'll edit out the tree hugging comment. That's you're good. But it makes a good point because I have a lot of friends outside of law enforcement that are entertainers that have now, we've lost all of our done.
Yeah.
These guys have made a living performing as magicians and comedians for years, and they're done. They're done for the foreseeable future. Whoever, however long,
I was driving on I-4 the other day, and I drove right by Sand Lake, looked over by the I-Drive district. That's what got me. That bothered me because it's a ghost town.
It looks surreal, yeah.
It's shut down. Nothing's moving. None of that's essential. Like where's the money? And it's gone. And it's scary to think, when they say, all right, go back, can people really go back?
Yeah, what do you go back to at some point?
Right.
Well, we talk about it here. We had the conversation. The family's sitting around, and Lacey and I were it was not reminiscing, but we're talking about, much like a lot of people, we've had our struggles, right? And there, we remember when we were a lot worse off than we ever are now. And we say, wow, we made it through some really difficult times. And then you remember, and Steve, you said it, then you put it in the perspective and go, there's somebody else out there.
Right.
Who doesn't have these things. So instead of freaking out and making things, because I'm a big fan of, I don't know how to say it. When I pray for the obstacles and the opportunities. And I understand that the obstacles have been bigger and will be bigger, not just for me, but someone else. So when it gets to be too much, like we're big fans of, we love the news, we love the things to do, but then sometimes you just have to shut it off and get away from it and realize what you got in front. Hey, what can we do today? And what we become, and that's the mantra in our house is the DeMotts have been very good at overcoming today. So we're going to go stir crazy again tomorrow, but we'll figure something else out to do. But how do you get that through without being negative? Other than the toilet paper thing, we're good.
Yeah, the toilet paper
thing today.
When I run out, I think I'll freak out at that point. But I've got.
What is the toilet paper thing?
I don't know. I think if we went into a full ass lockdown, like shut it down, nothing open, hurricane status, cops.
Okay. Okay, but you've had this.
Guardsmen at the intersections, that kind of like shut it down. Then what are you going to do when you run out? I say you better have a good hose nozzle, and that works.
You've guided us through traffic and hurricanes and just in the past couple of years. And we talked about this on the show, and we've talked about it off the show, and I've talked about it to everybody who'll listen to me. Hurricanes, natural disasters, people got water, batteries, everything else. The first thing that's been out and hasn't come back is toilet paper. Why?
Bill has it figured out, Steve.
I do have it figured out.
China.
Here's why. You want to know why? And I want you to take it to the news with you. This is straight from Bill DeMott. Quote me on it. Everybody in the world doesn't use their own bathroom to stink to join out. So everybody gets up, has their coffee at home, travels to work, and then uses work facilities or hotel facilities, everything other facilities. Now they heard they're going to be locked in their own house. Oh my God, I better get some toilet paper because now I got to drop a deuce in my own toilet. And that's what happened.
Okay, it's plausible.
That's all I wanted to hear.
I'm the only one who's not in that because I have a fear of public bathrooms, but for the majority.
Right.
Look, I stay at the station all night, so for 12 hours, I'm using their bathroom.
Right.
Yeah.
I do drop my first one at the studio. So yeah, I get it. That makes sense. And my second one.
Easily.
Well, there you go. You're healthy.
Right. So that makes, Bill's onto something because I only go at least once at my house a day. But now if I'm quarantined, that's going to be 3 times possibly.
Hey, man. Watch your water bill go up.
Right.
Well, all these things are going to come into effect. Bill DeMott let you know why.
This is interesting.
The light that we need, Steve. He's the light.
Yeah, but so then explain the paper towels. Because if we have towels, like a washcloth, the towels doesn't make any damn sense.
Because everybody's
I think that's
doing so much right now at home.
Unless you're going to cut them in half and make 2 toilet papers, but
yeah, that's people who don't care and don't realize that their septic system won't hold that for too long.
No.
So by the time we go back to work, there'll be a lot of flooded backyards and a lot less sweating being held.
My dad owns a plumbing company. He can't wait till this is lifted.
Oh,
that's what I'm saying.
There like,
he's going to retire in a couple months.
You don't see that's the kind of stuff you don't say out loud.
I know it's really messed up.
Steve, we are not very politically correct here.
No, I love it, and I have never been, so it's perfectly fine.
Oh, good. Welcome to the family.
Yeah, we just shoot the shit. We see how pissed we can get Bill off.
Yeah, and a lot of times it's not even intentional. But it happens.
That's the worst part is you guys just come up with this stuff for no reason.
Yeah, but I'm just trying to figure out who made your background. Like, okay, it's kind of like, I don't know.
That's the best background in the history of the world.
What's Bill DeMott
experience?
What's the Bill DeMott experience?
Oh, for me, I only see Experian.
Oh, you didn't know?
Oh, you didn't. You got to figure the rest of that.
You better call somebody.
I guess it must be on Wesh and not News 6.
Well, I'm not even leaving it there now. That's how upset I am about the whole damn thing. I'm there. That's a little bit more recognizable. All right, then.
No more empty seats.
Funnily enough, as I say, a lot of our listeners are in California and other states in other countries. Right. So, just give us a quick synopsis for anybody who's not here in Florida, who you are, what you do.
Let's see. I am Steven Montiero. I go by Trooper Steve is what I've kind of branded myself as over the past several years. Central Florida native, born and raised right here, raised down in the Kissimmee area. Joined the Highway Patrol. Joined the Air Force, then joined the Highway Patrol. Was in the Highway Patrol for about 8 years. Did a lot of cool stuff, I guess you could say, from working a crash to turnpike to motorcycles to dignitary protection to hanging out with that guy right there. It's it's been a whirlwind. I had somebody take me under her wing because she saw that I had the gift of gab and I didn't talk like a cop. I wasn't afraid of a reporter, and became like the assistant spokesperson for the Highway Patrol for all of Central Florida, which was kind of crazy. So then Instagram took off. So that's what Instagram kind of made face, about 4 or 5 years ago-ish?
Mm-hmm.
2010.
And you saw all these other guys start popping up. Officer Daniels. You saw Mike the Cop. And there was no trooper. So I'm like, what can I do here? So I created Trooper Steve. And what I did was kind of start out by going live every single morning in my patrol car on my way to the office.
Oh, nice.
And so I would just go, and I had no permission from the Highway Patrol to do any of that. And it was so new that they weren't sure, like they couldn't keep up. So I'd go live. I'm talking 300-400 people watching me just talking. And I'm talking everything about my perception of things, from faith to officer safety to why I became a trooper to how stupid freaking people are, everything. And occasionally I'd pull someone over and I'd flip the camera around. Now, to this day, do I regret that? 100%. Because if something happened and that was live, stupid mistake on my part. But it started a big following. So it started working to where I'd go on scenes and reporters were like, hey, Trooper Steve. And I was like, we got something.
That's good.
So at that point, I got approached by News 6. What was it, 2017, right before Hurricane Irma hit. So it was September-ish, August, September.
Yeah.
Because Hurricane Irma hit in October.
It did, yeah. We bought our house like right before it happened. So
yeah, so they approached me and they were like, hey, do you want to join our morning team? And I was like, no, I'm good. and I'm just like, you're like, no, I'm a cop. You're the media. Get away from me, kind of thing. And they were kind of persistent about it. I talked to a few people, and then they were like, just go sit with them. Entertain the idea. So I did. What's the worst thing I was going to say is no and go back to trooping. So I met with the assistant news director. We had ideas. She had idea, and it just worked. Everything I wanted to do, I wanted to be marketed as a cop. I wanted the brand to be Trooper Steve, and I didn't want to be stuck without being me. So I'm kind of marketed as a columnist because I'm allowed to just, I'm a smart aleck on TV. I'm rough.
We know, we see.
And it doesn't change when I'm in person, presentation-wise, mass, corporate events, they get me. And I think they know that they're going to get that, and I think people kind of flock to that because they don't want to hear the same BS every morning.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And it's just like I sent a message the other day to my EP, and I was like, look, I know traffic's slow, blah, blah, blah. You don't need to use me as much. And they're like, whoa, whoa, whoa. People watch the morning show because you're an out for them. I'll put someone on TV and be like, look at this dummy right here. Do not do this. And I go, if you want to know what stupid looks like, it's driving a Toyota van down I-4 right now. And it just works. So I kind of went with it. We talked with the Highway Patrol. I went reserve. So I'm still a reserve trooper. And a big thing for anybody who watches this, like there's a difference between auxiliary and reserve. Reserve, I'm equal to Frank. And like, except he does it full time and he fights the fight. I do it. I'm a weekend warrior. I choose what I want to do when I want to do it. But I still got a car outside and a badge right here. So it's great. I received no pay from the Highway Patrol, but it's a good time. So right now I'm a news personality with a hell of an opinion about almost anything. And I'm still trooping.
We watching it and kind of being fortunate.
Yeah, Bill's watched it grow and watch it fall from the
kind
beginning.
of fortunate enough to watch it from its from the birth of this thing. And you said earlier, you became Trooper Steve. I think the thing that that draws people to you and draws your now audience and the people who want to deal with you is that you don't. I always say you're going to get the same Bill DeMott no matter who you talk to or whatever it is. And I think it's the same thing. You build yourself. Now you branded yourself genius as Trooper Steve, but you didn't change who you are. You're not two different people. You're not Trooper Steve and then you're Steve Montiero. You're Trooper Steve. And that's how people got to see it happen. And I think people are drawn to that because of, one, you're just honest. Two, your perspective on how you deliver it. And three, they know that once they talk to you, that's the real deal. And you and I have had these conversations before.
Right. Either they like it or they don't.
Yeah, but that's the thing that KMG looked at it and went, to me, this is gold. As someone who's, and Jimmy knows from being in entertainment and Maury knows from filming, like I see it and I go, I get it 110%. So even if you downplay your role now and you say, well, you're kind of a weekend warrior. No, dude, you're a full-time, you're on full-time. You're burning it at both ends, much like Jimmy does. And you're doing your thing, but I will say this openly and honestly and stand right next to you and say it, like, if there's one person who carries the blue flag, that's you. And it's not a work. It's not just something that's said for an hour between 5 and 6 a.m. and then 9 and 10 or whatever the case is. You're not a weekend warrior. Like I say, you're a banger, and people know what they get from you. So I think
I appreciate that, man, a lot. Thanks.
That's the draw, and I think that's the draw for all the other two guys who I on this thing right now who I need a lot. To me, I'm a people. I'd rather deal with real all day long and know what we're talking about and have a little fun with it. But at the end of the day, watching your success has been ridiculous, and I've always laughed at you. You're like, well, what's going on? I'm like, yeah. And then when you go to the supermarket, and then when you go to dinner, and you're like, oh, come on. And now when you go to the supermarket, and now when you go to dinner, and you become that guy, and it's fun. Like, I'm old. I got all of you by 20 plus years, and I get to sit back and watch the three of you going through this life, and I giggle at all three of you because I get it, and I've kind of been there. So you've had a heck of a ride so far.
I appreciate that, man. It's been. I remember talking to you like, wait, how do I even deal with this? And then in the beginning going, it's not that bad. And then going through it and then being like, Bill.
Yeah.
Because I took it as just being the traffic guy.
No.
And 100% not. And I get people, I've got haters, but if you're not doing something right.
Haters gonna hate.
Haters if you're not doing something right.
And that's why, I wanted you to come on tonight, Steve. I think you bring a very interesting perspective, and especially to this podcast where we're not confined to any specific topic. We call ourselves Magic Through Wrestling. We talk about wrestling most of the time. We talk about entertainment and life. But for the most part, we're just three guys that shoot the shit and jokes. Bill has his hashtag of the night. I don't know if Bill has one prepared.
I always have one.
He always has one. I mean,
Bill has a hand machine.
So we talk about a little bit of everything. Right? We throw everything out and put it on the table. There's nothing off.
It's like a variety show. It's like vaudeville of podcast.
It's an out.
Yes.
It's an out, and thank goodness it started before the quarantine, because it gives people a chance to go, well, like Maury has buddies that he gets to talk to and goes, hey, I'm doing this podcast. But his buddies know him as one way, but they see him doing this. And same with Jimmy and same with me. And so when they started doing it, I'm like, oh, let me on there because I'll screw you guys up completely. and that's what's happened. But for me, this for me is my creative out, because I'm so into foundation, so into, I have one goal and my blinder's always on. So this is the out, and it's a lot of fun to come and do that and let people see a different side of you that they don't normally.
Yeah.
Get to
This
see.
is a fun show. We're on episode, I think it's 23 now. So I mean, we were bi-weekly for a while. Now we do weekly. But with the quarantine, we've been able to knock out a couple of weeks. So it's been pretty.
And it's better because when we started, you were bi-curious. Now we're just bi-weekly.
Well,
is that not right? We're not allowed to say that?
You're the one that put in the rule. We're not even allowed to say ladies and gentlemen.
No. I did say that.
Now you're talking about buys and tries and.
No, you said bi. I said you said bi-weekly.
Yeah.
I said I'm curious.
You're curious about every other week?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah.
So that makes me bi-curious.
Yeah, it's okay to be curious about every other
the same
week.
reaction.
So I'm trying to figure out.
I'm gonna go jump off the bridge behind me.
That was not the conversation we were having.
Well, Steve, welcome, buddy.
So welcome.
Yeah, that's how you get. That's how you get indoctrinated in right there.
If that doesn't get us 4 more followers, I'm out.
Yeah.
Oh,
What are they, fellas? What are they gonna do? Tweet about me?
been there, done that, right, Bill?
What am I gonna resign from this?
Good luck in your future endeavors. Hey, did you get a future endeavor thing?
No, I wasn't endeavored.
He wasn't future endeavored.
No,
you never got a future
They
endeavor.
got
I
a
wasn't
future endeavored.
I'm still good with the company.
Future endeavored them.
That's why I joke. Yeah, I future endeavored them.
Hey, by the way, we just found your picture online. They put up a Where's Waldo, right? And it was every superstar ever from like 1970 to 2002.
It had been at least about
the last 50 years. Every superstar ever in the history of the company.
Bill, if you're in there twice,
you're there as Hugh Morris and as Bill DeMott.
Well, wait a minute. The fact that why do you keep putting the emphasis on ever? Like, they had to use me?
Yeah, I know.
Like you should see his picture.
Well, if you're gonna pin your own participation medal on yourself, then go for it. But I think he was trying to give you some props there.
Yeah, you're on there twice.
No, because he always goes, "We had a lot of fun," and Bill's here too.
Meanwhile, Bill's the draw.
We're going to talk a lot about wrestling, and Bill had a few matches in there somewhere.
I remember you're like, last night, you're like, you asked him something about a last man standing match, and I'm like, Bill's the only one that's ever even been in one. What are you talking about?
I'm in there.
I don't think I could ever step into a ring. Never, ever.
I think one episode we're going to do it.
Let's do it.
I would need an ambulance and some good prescriptions, ready to rock.
Listen, one episode, we should all get beat up by Bill.
I would.
Oh, no. Bill doesn't beat people up.
See, I remember here, there was guest today. Guest means the next one is a different one. So I'm not I'm not getting my butt kicked.
What about a reoccurring guest?
Bill, what was it? What was your old name? Your old TV name?
Who, me?
Several.
Yeah, Bill.
Hugh Morris.
Yeah.
Humorous.
You're right.
The Laughing Man.
Which was never funny. I didn't get it. So, but this is exactly. See, this is what we should have been doing Sunday. I'm gonna reenact Sunday. WrestleMania's on, and see how everybody's looking at each other. We're talking. This is good. 4 men with a guest and men, and this is what happened. And he goes, "Hey, is everybody signed on?"
That's kind of
8 minutes go by.
It was a good show, Steve. It was a good show.
I missed that one. I'm
no,
looking
you
for
didn't
a
miss a
background.
thing. I like that background.
There's a photo I'm looking for.
So, Steve,
it was a good mania. It was a good mania. Bill, I will tell you this. I was very touched. I saw a picture of you online with Billy from WrestleMania 30. And
that was awesome.
Yeah, that was one of the best pictures I think I've ever seen of you and Billy.
It was so funny because, Lacey's a huge wrestling fan. So, and I told you in my house that, as much as I talk about, I don't watch a lot of wrestling. Many a time we do watch, and Casey's watching. And the girl, there it is. That's a cool picture.
I like it.
And so Billy tries to figure out, and he tries to the upmanship on his sisters is he's been more manias than they have. Because they've been in school. When he was young, he had to be with me. So he always counts down his manias. And Lacey found that one in New Orleans, and that was pretty cool. I
have never been to any level of wrestling ever.
Oh,
the
Steve,
mania
you're coming.
is the one.
Come with us.
Yeah, I know.
Apparently, WrestleMania 38 in 2 years, it's coming back. That's the rumor. Hopefully, we all got to go.
I got news for you. Steve picks up the phone and he's going anywhere he wants in the country.
Yeah.
You want to take us to California next year? Because that's where it's at. We would go with you, you know.
Please, I had someone basically go, I'll open up the garden section of Walmart for you, because he tripped out when I walked up to Walmart yesterday. I was like, Camila's sitting there laughing like, are you kidding me right now?
Yeah, and that's when you brother him. Brother, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, be like, yeah,
And it works out.
So did you go through the garden section so you didn't have to go through the food area?
No, I was trying to look for some essential flowers to decorate my
Essential house.
Lacey just got an essential flower pot the other day.
Yeah, I went and drove down to Addison's. Any of you guys know Addison's Gun Shop down in South Osceola? Bought me a new.
The AK.
Pew.
Hey, you know that's essential. You got to be ready for the Walking Dead. They're coming.
Absolutely. Listen, can we just talk about how this quarantine? If we were going on lockdown like this should have at least been a zombie apocalypse. I know plenty of people that have prepared for years for this moment to be let down.
I've got a 22 AR that would spray just mass amounts of little beads. That'd be too much fun. I'd be sitting upstairs.
I believe in equal opportunity for zombies, poachers.
So what are you going to give them a gun?
So should we be referring to them as him, her, or
I'm
just
just saying,
zombies?
all them peoples.
Steve, I can't say ladies and gentlemen. That's
because you can't. It's politically incorrect to say ladies and gentlemen.
Why?
Because somebody may not be.
What if you're just being polite?
Then you say, hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. My name's Jimmy Rook. I'm about to magicize you.
Magicize.
But the minute he says, hello, ladies and gentlemen, and you got someone who's had a bad day and they're not sure which side of the fence on, they go, this guy, I hate this guy, he sucks.
Yeah, he just singled me out.
Trying to get some heat.
Because you're not a gentleman. It's like the Army sergeants. You call them a sir. And they're like, I work for a living. It's like, shut up. Just because I scored higher on my ASVAB test and I'm in the Air Force doesn't mean you need to be a prick. Like, chill out.
I could have been a sir. I should have been a sir.
Oh, Bill. Yeah, so Steve, listen, in the future, I think it would be a great moment for Magic Through Wrestling. It'd be a great moment for Trooper Steve to go to a wrestling match and see firsthand what this is live.
We can vlog it.
Let's do it.
You heard it. You heard it right here. Steve is committed to it.
I'm down. So if we can arrange something
match
within the area, I'm not going to travel out of state.
No, yeah.
It's not essential business. Right.
Yeah, no,
whenever the next time they come here, I'll come check it out.
I'm on that one.
You got two super fans here and then somebody who dabbled that can teach you the ropes.
So one of my favorite moments.
That was Jimmy. That was making fun of Jimmy because that's what he
Yeah, I saw that.
I didn't hear him.
He said, what was your favorite moment?
So a couple of years ago when WrestleMania was here in Orlando, what was it, about 3 years ago now? 34, I think it was. It was great. So one of my coworkers, who is a commander now, he was a sergeant at the time, he had tickets to the SmackDown after WrestleMania, but he was doing a favor. He was taking his buddy's son to the match because his buddy works in the spotlight, I should say. I don't want to say where he works, but he's up early like you, Steve. Okay. On TV, but maybe another avenue where he'd have to get up super early in the morning. So my buddy, the commander, he took the kid to the wrestling match. Well, he got, they were in the Loge. Well, it just so happened I had Loge seats for SmackDown. So when Steve's laying the SmackDown right now on something.
Yeah, there's this damn fly flying around.
So I get to the venue, right? It's me and Rob Campbell, I think we were there. And we have our belts and we're being super fans. And we look to the very next seats right next to us. And it's the commander and his buddy's kid. We had no idea we were sitting right at. So the whole night, he's just watching us look like idiots and screaming and yelling at the guys in the ring. Yeah, that was a great moment.
Hey, to each their own, you know?
Exactly.
Did you guys see that my beautiful mug got put back up after WrestleMania on the thing? So
look at that right there.
Wow.
Wait a minute. You're going to tell the Seth Rogen story again?
no, I'm not going to retell it, but we were watching the Edge thing, and because I was sitting right next to him, my wife Crystal, she goes, I wasn't even paying attention because I was working on, I think, this video, and she's like, "Oh my God, you're back!" What'd you say? You said something like that.
You're on TV again.
I'm on TV again. They put the Seth Rogen thing back up.
Yeah, Steve, WWE thought he was Seth Rogen and put him in some seats, and they aired it on TV. So,
Gotcha.
although he is absolutely not Seth Rogen, I do see resemblance.
I
I was a
tend
little
to,
bit heavier.
when I see myself on TV, it's actually me. So I don't know.
The glass.
Look at
That's pretty damn close.
If you ever Google Seth Rogen NXT Orlando, you'll see me as Seth Rogen.
Doing it right now.
And
Right
then
now.
I got to party with like Pitbull and his cousins all night. It was great. Well, not Pitbull because he was on stage, but his family. Anyways, Bill, what year was that?
What year was what?
Your
Picture
picture.
in the background.
That's the first family. That's 1997.
7? Okay.
I don't know.
How old was I? I was 10 years old.
I was 100.
Bill, I
Look at
love your
Bill.
hair in that photo too.
Yeah, that was. Do you have like braids, Bill? Like what's going on?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I you know,
And you had the beard braid.
yeah.
He did. I should do that before I have to shave tomorrow.
I'd love to see that.
Maybe 97, I don't know.
So
What was the
Steve-
longest your hair's ever been, Bill?
My hair was down to my backside.
Really?
Jesus.
Yeah, I used to wear the thing when I was wrestling Puerto Rico and stuff, and even before then, my hair would be pulled back and braided that way, and then my beard was braided this way,
Wow.
and then you'd cut a little bit here and there, and then I cut my hair off one year before one of my knee surgeries, and the guy was supposed to get, and it was like so much hair, and he was supposed to give it to for the kids,
Box of
I mean,
love
wigs,
or whatever.
and it turns out we back to and Casey, every once in a while Casey remind me, you go back to the barber shop and my hair was hanging up in a bag and he had my name on it, and I'm like,
Wow.
oh, come on, dude,
Wow.
That's like a dick move.
come
That's not
on.
cool. Wow.
But yeah, I've had it very long, and I've had it bald.
Nice.
So,
Well-
Steve, how's the Highway Patrol handling the quarantine? Are you doing good over there?
Yeah, give us some
everybody being
inside
safe?
scoop on the quarantine.
You say what?
Give us some inside scoop on the quarantine from your perspective. The chaos, crazy.
There's not much other than it's. I think it's a lot of politics going on. I think if the ignorance stopped and the useful people stayed their asses at home, we wouldn't have an actual problem. I think it's pretty ridiculous that if we asked our grandparents to do anything for us, they would stop immediately to do it to save the youthful population. But the youthful population can't keep their ass off the beach for
Right.
2 weeks in order to save somebody else. And I think a lot of people are just underestimating the contact of this virus. And I'm not saying this is like a human destroyer, but it has the possibility to, and I don't think a lot of people are heeding that. And they're like, oh, well, the media is hyping it. And it's like, well, they're hyping it because it's real. And yeah, is it like the flu? 100%. But it spreads faster. It latches onto things. And I don't think a lot of people, to answer your question, there is no like insight on it. It's just like, if people just did what they're asking, that's it. Just keep your butt home. I really think we would see a difference in this. Now, is there politics going on? Yeah, look at that BS up in New York. You got Cuomo, and everyone's fighting and all this stuff, and federal government's whatever. I really think this, personally, I believe will change. It's going to be another 9/11 for us.
Yeah.
It's going to change the way we do things.
Yeah.
When Disney decided to close, and now that there's no future opening, it got real.
That's whenever I felt this is beyond something smaller in scale.
Right. This isn't
like,
just a tropical storm coming through.
Yeah.
This is where this is gonna be a problem going forward. We're gonna see people wearing masks for years, I think.
Yeah.
Travel's gonna change. Everything's
absolutely.
Greetings. You're not gonna want to shake people's hands after this, even after it's clear.
No. Steve,
I never liked it to begin with, but
Steve, what do you think? How's it going to affect law enforcement going forward?
I don't think law enforcement is going to change very much. You cannot change a career path that deals with reality, and that reality has human contact. So, for example, you can change the food industry because the food industry doesn't have to have human contact. Look what we're doing right now. To go screens and stuff like that at Publix. You can change that. Why? And I'm going off in one of my little preaching moments. It's law enforcement and paramedics, and that first responder world deals with things on a reality level, and that's it. You can't stop reality. So you can't alter reality. You can alter everything else, whether it's hospitality, the food industry, automotive, whatever. But I think law enforcement, unfortunately, is going to be now a new enemy, and because you cannot stop going to people's houses for calls. You cannot stop fighting someone on them. You've got to be on them. You can't fight someone from a distance. I don't see cops backing off doing their job.
No,
so
I agree.
It's gonna become a problem, I think, because look, we've lost 3 deputies in the state of Florida now because of it. And nationally, I think close to 100 cops have died from it. So that goes to the effect of people not staying home. If you're out, you're committing a damn crime. At least if you're home, the chances are less. It's stupid.
But going back to if you asked our grandparents to do something for us, and again, I'll say it because I got 20 years on you guys, all of you, but we have the same mindset. You know what I mean?
Right.
So if someone said to my grandfather, "Don't do this because Billy needs this," done. No questions asked. Right. Don't give me 14 reasons. The thing is, with the generation we have now, and as law enforcement, Jimmy and Steve, we've talked about this, and more you've heard the conversation.
Oh, did we lose you?
I think we did. I think we may have froze there. That happens sometimes.
But
at least we lost him, and his mouth is open.
There you go.
Yeah, we could edit him in later.
He's still ready to eat. Like, it's not.
And you can't tell me what to do.
Well, we lost all that.
You missed the whole thing?
You said, and Mari, you heard the conversation, and then your mouth was open, and you didn't talk.
Oh, my God. I've been going for like 5 minutes. Okay.
I know. We were trying to keep up.
I swear to God, I said, we'll edit this in, and somebody said he's ready to eat, and then you came back, and don't tell me what to do.
Yeah, that
was my point was this, is that this generation, anything that's said to them, and I go back because this is where I start to get a little pissed off about things, especially government-wise and law enforcement-wise and DUI laws, which we'll talk about some other time, and all these other things, is that they don't apply to certain people. So don't talk to me about it.
Right.
And the problem with this generation of what's going on with this virus and everything else is, until it happens to me, you go pound salt. I want to go to the beach. I want to go out and I want to have my religious preferences. I want to do these things. And until I'm sick, then shame on someone for not helping me. But we forget about the people that are on the front line. We forget about the people that are doing it every day. Yes, is my wife unhappy that she's not working? Yes, she's unhappy, but she's healthy, she's alive, and we'll get over it. Am I unhappy that we miss dates? Yes, I'm unhappy, but we'll get over it because there'll be more to come. But the problem is we have people who have to do a job.
That's exactly correct.
The people who do the job then become, and here's my cousin for the night. I'm sorry, Pastor, forgive me. Everybody forgive me. But then they're the assholes of the bunch who are making things worse. No, if you just listen to what it is, no one's asking you to agree with it. You've got professional people telling you, here's what it is, A, B, and C. You don't get to pick D. You don't get to pick all of the above, or you don't get to start, this isn't the SATs. This is what it is. And I agree, it's going to get worse, and it's going to change the way we go to school, how we shop, how we live, and all these things. And then they're going to realize, maybe if I would have listened 6 months ago. There she is. Hi, boss.
But
I just
on the flip side, though, think about
considerations.
Yeah.
What's that?
They've actually, keep in mind the CDC at first said that, wear a mask, you're fine. It's fine. And then it turned, groups of 100, groups of 50, groups of 10. And now they've also come out and said you could be completely asymptomatic. And they've also come out and said that it's airborne, it's aerosol, not just droplet. So technically, when all these college students were spring breaking, all that information was being told to them.
Right.
And now we know the difference, just because you also have a generation that the older generation blames everything on them.
Bill blames everything on me.
Everything.
It's deserved, though, Maury.
Well, yeah,
just
I didn't say it wasn't.
because I work at the health center on.
Right.
Yeah, but if it looks like a duck and sounds like a duck,
but if you're being
I'm
told,
calling it a damn duck.
Oh, they're dumb. They're dumb.
If you're being told this is what it is, and you're not at least working towards that direction and changing the things you need to change, then you become part of the problem.
You know what my favorite story of this whole thing has been?
Please.
And I want to use the word favorite, and I don't mean to offend anybody. This is a very serious thing. Please understand. I don't mean that anything is good. But that spring breaker that was interviewed by the news, right? That you know exactly who I'm talking about, Steve.
He made everyone look so dumb.
So bad.
Yeah, and then he came out like a week later when he got corona and said, "Yeah, I was an idiot. I'm sorry. This is real."
Well, did you guys hear about the firefighters? I think they were like responding to a fire in a field, and whenever they get there, there's a bunch of idiot kids. This is like 2 days ago. There's a bunch of idiot kids at a bonfire. They said there's like 50 or more, and they're all just hanging around and all up on each other. And then I think they all got in pretty big trouble for it.
Yeah, but you know why? Because they were told on the news and by leaders in the community that right now the cops aren't going to do anything, and people went, woohoo! So now in 55s they're going 95. People are out parking where they want, doing what they want because they know the police are handcuffed and stranglehold to a certain protocol right now, and that falls back on the people. If your governor's sitting here, and I'll say it, your governor's sitting here, well, just because the other states are closing beaches, I haven't been told by the president to do that. You're the leader of a state, and the problem I have with is if all the other states except 17 are doing it, then we as a country have to get together and get everybody back on the same page.
Yeah.
Now
I think
that's my pedestal for something else, but that's the problem I have here in Florida and everywhere else. Why do we have to wait to be told when we know that it has to be done?
Yeah, why react whenever you can act?
And now,
exactly.
So then we look at our troopers and our officers and our first responders and our nurses and our doctors and go, well, why didn't you guys make this bed before it got this bad?
Right.
You know, this is very reminiscent of 9/11. I think we've compared it to 9/11. But, you know, for me, I was a junior in high school, and the one thing I remember post 9/11 is we saw a shift and change where we started to appreciate our first responders. We appreciated our police officers, our deputies, our troopers, our firefighters, our doctors, our nurses for the actions that they had on the front lines during 9/11. Now I see that shift starting to come back again. It is unfortunate that it takes a global pandemic for that to occur when, you know what, we need to be nice to, you know, everybody. You know, Steve, I think you said it best. You know, you can't fix stupid, but you can sure write it a ticket. You know,
that's great. I love that.
How, you know, not to get in trouble. Don't break the law, dumbass. Like, it's
right.
You don't want my attention. Don't do dumb shit. It's not that difficult. You know, and I think unfortunately people take that for granted. But now I'm starting to see maybe a little bit of that pendulum swinging the other way again. And I hope that we as a country, we as a state, we as a community, just keep that in mind once this pandemic is over, that, hey, nothing has changed. We're still going out there doing our jobs. We're still doing the same thing. And we're doing it every day for you so you can stay home and be safe. And I got bad asthma, right? I'm scared shitless again in this thing. I got bad asthma.
Maybe
I'm going to work and I'm out there.
Maybe somebody will figure out the same thing with our teachers too. Because
yes.
all these kids that, my teacher don't like me, my teacher this, my teacher that. Well, if you're sitting home with this as your teacher now, because you got to do your work online, you appreciate your teacher that much more. And I say that because I think a lot of teachers appreciate this situation because they didn't realize what they had as well. You know what I mean? It goes back to, Steve said it's going to change a lot of things. And I think hopefully it does open some eyes. And I'm not a big kumbaya, hold everybody's hand kind of guy, but I am believe it or not, I'm positive. I'm much like everybody else on this thing, is that I'm passionate. And if I get going hard. But hats off, you know, I say it all the time and I pray every night. And I thank God for law enforcement. Thank God for the volunteers in law enforcement. Thank God for the people that are doing what they're doing, because if they weren't doing it, I'm not sure I could be out there doing what they're doing to help. And that's what you better realize. Are you willing to step in? Trooper Steve gets sick tomorrow, Bill. Are you willing to step in and take his spot? My answer is yes. But I'm saying to everybody in the general public, are you willing to take that sheriff's
They're not,
spot,
and that's the thing. They're not.
You know.
And we could hype it up in a way that it's a motivational speech. And Bill, I get it. But at the same time, they're not. So that's when I go off the deep end a little bit and get a little aggressive with it, because what's real is majority of society, when faced with something like that, is going to curl up in a ball and not know how to act. I say it at every presentation. I've said it at the dinner awards, that law enforcement go out and face the things that people choose to think don't exist.
Right.
And that's when you think about that shit, that's real. And it gets to a point to where, you know, there could be, I'm not saying it's going to happen, there could be a day where you call 911 and the cops aren't coming, and we're all in a position to where we're in a movie type setting. And I'm not saying that's ever going to happen, and I pray to God that it never happens, but it could be reality. If the reality is someone will break through your windshield and kill everyone in your home, the reality is that there could be a day that the cops don't come and you need to step up. And I think that now people are realizing, wow, simple as toilet paper not here. Well, how am I going to find this for my family? Okay, you're limiting me to 2 items. How do I make this work when I'm no longer living in abundance and I actually have to make decisions that are protecting my family, and I'm not relying on everything else? There's a big thing going on where people, that alpha type personality is kind of being welcomed back a little bit. Like to Frank's point, it's like, is that appreciation there? Yeah. It's okay. Thanks now to the grocery people. Okay. Are manners starting to come back into society to where, wait, this person sacrifices everything they do for $10 an hour for some dude. I'm trying to not curse, for some person that makes 6 figures to be rude with them because they can't buy 2 things of Lysol. Like, come on. So I do think as a society, there will be a shift here. 100%.
Yeah.
We have no choice. A shift is going to happen, but it's at this point, survival of the fittest, because if you can't make something, if you can't figure out how to make it work for your family, everything's going to crash and burn. And I'm sorry, it's kind of like everyone's getting a dose if they voted for Bernie. Like, this is how it was going to be. So, and I'm not trying to get political with it too much, but at the same time, if you want a socialist government, well, here you go. You got a little tease of it, because you can't do this, you can't do that, equal to this, to the everybody. I don't know if I want all that. But I think 6 months from now, and that's when I think we'll be coming out of this, is about 6 months from now, to where we're back to some type of normalcy, that it will have changed our way we do things, not but as Americans for quite some time.
Let me give you the upside real quick, because I started.
And I've got about 2 minutes. Just so
we're about to wrap up, Steve.
So here's the thing. I want to leave it on a positive note, because I get very and I get here's the thing that you do watch, and the things I do pick up on. The landowners that are telling all their renters, your rent's free right now. Take care of your families. We'll take care of each other as this happens. The business owners that are taking 75% pay cuts so he can keep his employees at least paying their medical bills or whatever it is. Right. So these things are happening. The guys and the women that are looking each other in the eye and having conversations when we weren't doing that for a long time. So for all the things that aren't happening, you look at those people who are really stepping up and going. And every day we find out more and more that that people own buildings and have renters. Don't worry about your rent right now. We're all going through this together. Those kind of things, and that's the thing to remember. At the end of the day, if you need
you're right. There's not one person who's not going through this.
If you need something, I got you. And if you don't got me today, I pray that you got me tomorrow. And that's how we need to get through this thing. So in a time when we got really heavy and we always have a lot of fun, I just think it's important to have one of those nights to go, thanks, man.
Yeah.
Thank you. And everybody just keep rocking it. It's our job. Steve does it every day on TV. Jimmy does it with his shows. Maury does it with his videography and his movie making. And I'm just a regular jabroni. But we entertain people and keep their minds off of the real, but it is real. So what a foursome tonight. I thought this was a great Steve for joining us and setting a flame to the candle.
Thank you.
And of
great
course,
episode.
Jimmy and Maury, much love.
All right, guys. So that's been another great episode of the Magic the Wrestling.
Super Steve, we love you, dude.
We love you, buddy. Steve, our big sign off. Are you ready? Thank you for listening. If you've enjoyed it, subscribe, like, share, do everything. And of course, as always, if you're not down with that, we got 2 words for you.
So what?
Nice.
Bye, guys.